everyone. My name is Walt Marchbanks. I'm the Passenger Programs and Services Manager with the Port of Portland. My pronouns are he, him. Welcome. It's so exciting to see all of you. We're live from the Port of Portland headquarters today, and this is a hybrid event. So we're live streaming on Facebook Live, but we also have an in-person audience, which is very exciting. First time we've met in person for a long time, so that's very, very exciting. We're very grateful for the community's vaccination effort, which has really made this all possible. And as we've been doing throughout the pandemic, we'll continue to follow the guidance of our public health partners. So this is a great opportunity to really welcome all of you and to thank the customer service superstars for going above and beyond. So yeah, right on, huh? So once a quarter, we recognize employees from all 10 industries that we have represented at PDX. And this event is really focused on the people that are in this room and the folks that couldn't make it and are joining from home. So thank you to all of you. So for those of you who haven't attended one of these events before, this is sort of what you can expect today. So first, we have a great presentation by Ruth Rabe. She's the Business Development Director with the Hidden Disabilities Organization, and she's going to speak about a new program that's coming August 1st to PDX that's going to help make our airport more inclusive, specifically for those that have hidden disabilities. And then next, we've got a great piece from Caitlin Powell with Hoffman Skanska, and she's going to give us a little behind-the-scenes tour on what we can see behind the construction barricades. I know many of you have been curious about what's actually going on back there. And then last and most importantly, we're going to host the awards part of the presentation. So, and again, if you're joining us from home, we're live streaming, so please be sure to drop us a like, give us a comment, share this with your friends and family members, because this event is really all about the customer service superstars, specifically that are in this room and those who, again, couldn't join us today. So, that said, at PDX, we really pride ourselves in being one of the, if not the best airports in the country, and that really all starts with helping to make sure that our guests are cared for. So on August 1st, we're launching a new initiative at PDX known as the Sunflower Lanyard Program, which is already in place at over 20 U.S. airports and others throughout the globe. And this program is really designed to assist passengers and other guests with hidden disabilities. Prior to joining the Hidden Disabilities team, Ruth Rabe spent 35 years working at several airports across the UK, primarily in Gatwick. Her final 5 years were spent managing the Special Assistance team at Gatwick Airport, where she played an integral part in creating the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower. While in this role, she met regularly with passengers with disabilities, both visible and non-visible, to understand how their journeys could be improved by traveling through the airport, as well as meeting with national and local disability support organizations. In her current position as Business Development Director, her passion is to raise sunflower awareness amongst businesses and organizations. She's also responsible for the growing network of airports that have adopted the sunflower, much like PDX. Now, I met with Ruth earlier this week, and she's here to tell us more about this amazing program.
Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Ruth Rabe. I work for the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower program here in the UK, and I'm delighted to be talking to you at the quarterly awards at Portland Airport. So I've got a great presentation for you today to talk to you about the sunflower, to understand how it started and what the significance of it is. And I'm going to go ahead now and cue the slides up and show you. So what is the Hidden Disability Sunflower? So it's a discrete way for somebody to choose to indicate that they're living with a non-visible disability. As we know, non-visible disabilities are not immediately obvious. They make daily life demanding for so many people, and they can be painful, exhausting and isolating. And the Hidden Disability Sunflower is for enable people to be able to recognise people who have non-visible disabilities and understand the challenges faced.
Disabled people make up 1 in 5 of the British population, and 80% of these have a hidden disability. This means that over 10 million people in the UK alone have a hidden disability. The sunflower is here to discreetly indicate, if you may choose to, that you may need a little more time, care, or just simple understanding. The Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Scheme, making the invisible visible.
So what is a hidden disability? There are literally hundreds out there. This next video now is going to give you a high-level overview of just some of the non-visible disabilities that are out there.
Living with a disability can mean facing barriers in daily life. These can be physical, like buildings not having accessible toilets, or caused by negative attitudes towards disability. And incredibly, 80% of disabilities are hidden and may not be immediately obvious. There are literally hundreds of hidden disabilities, from anxiety disorders through to visual impairments. And the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower is here to illustrate them all. The Hidden Disabilities Sunflower, making the invisible visible.
So how did the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower start? So I mentioned earlier on that I would come back to how I became involved with this. The last 5 years of my aviation career, I was managing the assistance team at London Gatwick. And when somebody arrives in from a ski flight who's got a broken leg, it's fairly obvious that they have a mobility issue and they require a wheelchair or a buggy. So I wanted to understand how was it that for the airport community, how would they recognise and support somebody who had a hidden disability? I met with many local and national charities like Alzheimer's UK, National Autistic Society, the Royal National Institute for the Blind, and asked them whether there was any symbol, if we wanted to introduce a lanyard, that we should avoid for someone who has a visual impairment. Like, for example, a black and white spot, black and white check, etc. They said no. So the only reason that the sunflower was evolved as it has was by myself going through many lanyard websites, and I just love the design of the yellow sunflower on the green background. But since then, since it's grown, people say that wearing the sunflower does give them the confidence and the strength to go out, especially now since the pandemic as well. So that's how we evolved with the green lanyard with a yellow sunflower. So the main important parts are anybody with an invisible disability can wear the sunflower, but there are many that choose not to wear it, and that's absolutely fine as well. You'll have many passengers that still travel through Portland that don't want to wear the sunflower. But the three main things to remember are, firstly, it's optional. Secondly, anybody within the group can wear the sunflower. It does not have to be the person with the hidden disability. You could have a group of 5 passengers traveling, and maybe it's the granddad that has dementia, for example, but it could be somebody else within that party wearing the sunflower. The sunflower just donates to people to say that somebody within this group has a hidden disability. And it's really simple. We don't ask people for proof of their disability either. We had a survey we ran at the end of last year, and as you can see, 70% of people said that they agreed that we should not show proof or ask for proof of someone who had a hidden disability. And the main reason for that is it takes a long time for many people to get a diagnosis if they have a hidden disability. It can take months and years, and certainly now with the pandemic, that does even increase the time for people to get that diagnosis. So we don't ask for proof of disability, and it's optional. And as I said, anybody within that group can wear it. And the main thing is, it doesn't give fast track access to passengers. So it doesn't mean that they can jump the queue at check-in or with TSA or boarding and disembarking an aircraft. That said, if the airport team have been trained correctly, they would recognize somebody's wearing the sunflower, and they might just simply need some extra time, kindness, patience, and just a bit more understanding. So it's very simple. What do I do if I see somebody wearing the sunflower? It's just ask if you can help. It doesn't mean that if when you receive the sunflower training that you're going to be able to diagnose what somebody's condition is as they walk up to you. It's just ask if you can help, be kind, have patience and understanding, don't judge people, listen closely to what they have to say, don't rush them, show respect, and also the times before and hopefully soon after a mask, smile, because I think a smile goes a long way to break that barrier down. So the sunflower now is in the US and Canada. We also have a sister in Australia, New Zealand, and we've launched websites now in Denmark, the Netherlands, and Belgium. I'm going to run the video for you now that just shows the airports across the globe. We're up to about 90 airports all told now, and we're just delighted that Portland starts now on the August 1st, so very excited that you're joining and being a Sunflower member as well. We've got an awful long way to go, as you can see, and as we head in towards Europe, there's an awful long way to go. But when the Sunflower started, and in the summer of 2019, the airports, all the UK airports came on board, and then it evolved from there. And that's what we're hoping by raising awareness that in the States, for example, that we get the other forms of transport on board, whether it be the railways, etc. So as you can see, across in Europe, we are making headway, but still have quite a long way to go. So the next slide I'm going to show you is the different sectors and businesses and organisations across the globe that are on board with us now. This shows, for example, the BBC. It'll show all the logos, and sectors-wise now in the UK, there isn't a sector that we're not in. We're central and local government. All the universities, schools and colleges are on board. We've got fire, police and rescue, sports, premiership, football teams, etc. And the list goes on. So this will just give you an indication now of the different sectors that are on board supporting the Sunflower.
From airports to zoos, from sports venues to local shops, and from hospitals to banks, the Sunflower is there for people to indicate that they have an invisible disability. So whether you are a new Sunflower member or one that's been with us since the beginning, we would like to thank you for recognising that some disabilities are not visible. Together, we can make a difference with an offer of help, an act of kindness, or simply giving a Sunflower wearer a little more time. Making the invisible visible with the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower.
So in September this year, we're introducing a Sunflower membership to our businesses and organisations. We're very excited because this is going to give the Sunflower wearers the opportunity to look at when they're planning a day out, a holiday, going to a sporting venue, to see what facilities these businesses have. Do they have accessible toilets? Do they have Sunflower checkout lanes? It's going to improve customer services. And it's also going to be able to give the businesses and organisations additional opportunities to share with the wearers. Do they provide maybe a quiet hour on a Monday at 9 o'clock, for example, that the Sunflower wearer individual can go to that store? It's going to be really useful to provide this information for them. The last part, as I come to the conclusion now, is, people say, is it reasonable that the Sunflower symbol can possibly make a meaningful difference? Well, the answer is absolutely yes. One part of the survey that we ran last year, I mentioned, so over 90% are more likely to visit a shop or business that recognise the Sunflower. 95% would recommend a business to others that they also introduce the Sunflower as well. And over 80% agree that businesses that recognise the Sunflower are making these organisations more accessible for people with non-visible disabilities. So just to conclude, our goal at the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower is really simple. We want to improve everyday experiences and interactions for people living with hidden disabilities. So I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all the quarterly award winners at Portland Airport. Huge congratulations to you, and thank you very much once again, Walt, for asking me to come and talk to you today, and also for Portland Airport for taking the Sunflower and introducing this now at the beginning of August. Thank you very much and congratulations again.
Right. Well, yeah, let's give her a round of applause. And actually, Ruth is actually watching this from home. So since you're watching, Ruth, I just wanted to say thank you very much for all your help getting this off the ground, pun intended. We're very excited to launch this program at PDX. And again, just wanted to say thanks to Ruth. Information regarding this program is going to be available on the accessibility portion of our Fly PDX website. And for PDX employees, both in the room and those that are watching, look for our PDX newsletter and employee website for training materials and other information about the rollout. So, as we all know, PDX is under a massive transformation right now, and a lot of you have probably all been wondering what's actually going on behind those construction barricades that we have throughout the airport. So today, we're here to give you a nice behind-the-scenes tour and look at a couple of our different job sites. It's my honor to play a quick video featuring Caitlin Powell, project manager with Hoffman Skanska Construction. She's been on numerous projects since 2016, most recently on the Concourse E extension, and outside of being at PDX, she enjoys all things outdoors and is also an avid traveler. So, here we go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Caitlin Powell with Hoffman Skanska, and I am out here at our prefabrication yard, which is just off of Marine Drive, standing in what is going to be the future ticket lobby. So you'll see these gorgeous glulam beams, skylight openings, and what we're looking at is what you'll see facing west, and that will be future glazing and curtain wall. So we have a really cool operation going out here to get this roof ready and prefabricated, and then we'll be lifting it over the existing Oregon Market and ticket lobby and tying it in. That will come sometime next year.
So it's very exciting. There's obviously a lot going on, and there's a lot that's happening in areas that we can't see. So we're excited that we could show you a little something about what's actually going on back there. So, all right. So we've saved the best for last. We've reached the awards portion of today's event. This week, we're going to be delivering the award certificates to all the winners who couldn't join us and the nominees. We're also going to be sharing stories of the winners, including photos on digital monitors throughout the terminal, including our flight information displays and our PDX People website. And lastly, for those who couldn't attend either virtually or in person, this event is also being recorded, is going to be updated and uploaded onto our employee website later. So without any further ado, it's my honor to introduce Shannon MacArthur, our beloved PDX People program coordinator, and she's going to drive us through the awards part of the presentation. I'd also like to invite our working committee members to join us at the front of the room. So if you're on our working committee, you're welcome to join us at the front. And winners and committee members, if you're comfortable, feel free to elbow bump or fist bump as you're walking around. But by no means do you need to. So come on up, Shannon.
All right. Yay! This is so exciting. It's been a year and a half since we've gathered in a room. And if there's anything that this has taught me is that just when you think we know what's coming next, we get a little wrench thrown in. So yesterday, we weren't expecting that we were going to wear masks, but I think that we've all come to recognize one another with our masks on. I think the next step will be we won't recognize each other without them on now. It's just become the norm. So it's just really an honor and a privilege to tell the stories of the PDX people who come all day, every day, and under really trying circumstances, deliver compassion and empathy and kindness and connecting with humans, because that's the business that we're in. All right. So starting up first is a recognition. This is just such a testament to our PDX people, because this nomination came in from Karen Crone, who I'm going to ask to come up to the front of the room. She hates this stuff like I do. Sorry, Karen. And Karen sent in this nomination for Heather Pecos, who's with Alaska Airlines. And we're really pleased for Heather that she's out on some vacation time this week, enjoying her family, and she's not able to join us in person today. But I think you're going to see why this nomination that came in from Karen actually needs to provide some recognition for Karen as well. So a mother called into the PDX Paging Information Center, where Karen is the lead. And Karen spoke with this woman who was just distraught because her 19-year-old son had missed his flight on Alaska Airlines. I have a son that's 18 years old, so I can relate to this woman. I hope my son wouldn't miss his flight, but it's within the realm of possibilities for sure. So she was very worried about him. And to make matters worse, his phone wasn't working any longer. You can all guess what happened. His battery ran out. He didn't have a power source. And he had actually, in fact, left the airport. But Karen had spoken with Heather over the phone. Heather had also been in contact with this mother over the course of a day. So he had missed his flight in the evening, and then he sort of went missing, was out of communication, and this is the next morning. So both Karen and Heather had been speaking with the mother to reassure her as she lost contact with her son overnight. And then Karen had not stopped doing overhead pages throughout that period of time over the course of about 12 hours. And he ultimately responded to one of those pages. He was clearly distressed and in need of assistance, extra assistance. And so to make sure that he made it through the ticketing process, Karen stayed on the phone with him the entire time. When he got up to the ticket counter, Karen asked to speak to the agent. And who do you think it was? But Heather. Heather, thank goodness, was on the other line. And Karen said at that point, Heather took over the situation with complete professionalism and compassion. So normally there would be, a process to rebook somebody. There would be additional fees. Heather waived all of that. She took care of him, made it super quick and efficient, made sure that he got to the security checkpoint, And then Karen paged him yet again when he was post security, and she stayed on the phone with him until he got to his gate and made sure that he got on the aircraft, actually. So I spoke with Heather, and she's not able to be here because she's on vacation, but I asked her what motivates her to take that extra step, to hold somebody's hand, to connect and make sure that this person who also could be challenging, that she would take that extra step. And she said, you have to be kind-hearted. You have to put yourself in someone else's shoes and to understand what they might be experiencing. And she says she would hope someone would do the same for her. So isn't that just says it all, right? You're just connecting with folks, you're understanding. You don't have to experience what they're experiencing. Just imagine what that's like and to take that extra step. So thank you, Karen. It's beautiful. Karen's pretty much a magic worker. Things like this happen all day, every day, as you know, at the airport. And only because we pop in here and there, I overhear these sorts of situations and get to bear witness to them. So thanks, Karen. She pretends to be tough, but we know she's a softie underneath it all. All right, next up in the car rental category, we have Annette Hall and Amber Olape. Come on up with Dollar Rent-A-Car. And we have Therese Chapdelaine up here from Dollar Rent-A-Car. She's a member of our working committee. She's been a member of our working committee for many years, and she became a grandmother yesterday. Has a picture of her new beautiful grandbaby, Sydney. She's a big girl, weighing in at 8 pounds, 3 ounces. Yeah, everybody's doing well. So this note comes in from a passenger, Susie W. She says, I caught an earlier flight to PDX and arrived 3.5 hours before my scheduled reservation. It was so nice that my car and paperwork were already ready to go. She says, but I ended up needing to return my vehicle much earlier than expected because my husband had been in a terrible car accident and I needed to get home right away. As you can imagine, when I got to Dollar Rent-A-Car, I was still in shock from the news and began literally blubbering to the return agent, Annette. She listened to me, calmed me down, and even located a luggage cart for me to use. While standing at the airline counter, I received a call from Dollar telling me that they had found my prescription sunglasses that I left behind in the rental car. I was still quite overwhelmed, and when I ran back to get my glasses, I mistakenly went to the rental counter instead of the return area. That's where I encountered Amber, who walked me out to where I had returned my car to get my glasses. The care both Annette and Amber showed me was way above and beyond and incredibly compassionate. Thank you. So again, this just says we know that what happens in the airport, it's not just folks going to Disneyland. It's people that are traveling for all different reasons, and unexpected things happen when folks travel all the time. And by two people going above and beyond to connect with this person that obviously is in need and having a really difficult circumstance in their life made the difference in her life, and to the point where she would reach out to want to connect with us and share that experience. So Annette and Amber, thank you so much. We appreciate what you're doing all day, every day, but especially in the circumstances. Appreciate it. And next up in the concessions, food and beverage category, we have Ellie Nye. She's representing Keepers Cafe and Catering, Andy Jolie. Come on up, Ellie. Andy is also a part of this nomination, but he is on a catering job, which is what happens when you work at the airport and you're short-staffed, as we are right now. Pretty much all businesses, like around the nation, are short-staffed. So this nomination actually comes in from another concessionaire at PDX, Ebony, who's the manager at Stumptown. Says, I want to thank Andy Jolie and Ellie Nye from Capers for being so hospitable to the Stumptown team on June 10th. She said, we had a very unfortunate accident with our cart while transporting product to the unit. The wheel on our cart snapped off while going through a door and the entire cart flipped over, We had a huge mess to clean up, to say the least. I can only imagine. I would imagine, because that's very heavy. Yes, right. So really tough. And like I said, we're short-staffed at PDX. The easy thing for you to be would to keep your head down, do your work because you're overwhelmed. But no, Ellie saw what had happened, jumped into action, also letting Andy know what happened and calling him in to help. They graciously assisted us with cleanup and provided a cart and cleaning supplies. Ebony says PDX truly is like a family. We help each other out when there's a need. Thank you, Ellie. And next up in the concessions, retail, and services category, Erin O'Connor. Come on up. So it turns out today is a very special day. It's Erin's 29th birthday. So we want to say happy birthday, Erin. We're so honored that you'd be willing to spend a couple hours with us today. I think Walt got a special treat on his way in. Little birthday cake. Yeah, mini birthday cake. So Erin has worked at PDX for many years, and this isn't her first quarterly award. We know that her and Stephanie Lewis, who is also a working committee member for Travel Oregon and who has been a quarterly award recipient herself, once or twice, provide outstanding customer service. And you'll see from this story. On Monday, June 28th, it was a tough day for most travelers. There were many canceled and delayed flights, no rental cars available, and high Uber and Lyft rates. On top of it all, we were experiencing the hottest temperatures ever recorded in Portland since historical records began in 1940. Yeah, we haven't forgotten about that, right? It was miserable. I think we got a couple 97s for this week, but it won't compare to the 114s, 112s. It's ridiculous. No hotel rooms were available as they were all booked for residents trying to escape the heat. Erin saved the day for two stranded couples who stopped by our welcome center for help. The couples had no hotel reservations and little hope of finding anything given the circumstances. Erin sprang into action, calling up lodging property after lodging property looking for availability. After about an hour of no luck, her next call fortuitously connected her to someone she personally knew through professional connections. She secured two very elusive hotel rooms for both couples. Erin's determination and care are heartwarming, and I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Erin. Thank you. And happy birthday! So should we stay up here for a minute? Walt's known for his singing voice. He is. So I think that all of us should join Walt in singing Erin.
You know the words, right? On three. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday, dear Erin. Happy birthday to you. Woo!
Oh, that's lovely. All right, next up in our federal category, Kane Shapiro, come on up. We have representatives from the TSA. We have Naomi Eckstein and Fran Becker, both longstanding working committee members. Pleased to have them here. This nomination comes in from another PDX employee, Haley from At Your Gate. She said, Kane is always friendly and knowledgeable, and today's example was no different. He really went out of his way to help a passenger get exactly what was needed. Ending the airport experience on a strong note. Kane helped a passenger with a visual impairment order from the At Your Gate app so they could get a bottle of yum sauce from Cafe Yum delivered. Apparently, this is a tradition, and they always bring home a bottle of yum sauce to their mother when they travel. And since they were traveling out of the D gates, and with current construction, they couldn't easily go over to the C gates, ordering from at your gate was an ideal option. Excuse me, I just moved forward a little too quick. And I did it again. Let me click on my screen here. Here we go. So Kane worked with this person that had a visual impairment, ordered from at your gate. And the passenger said Kane was so helpful and really made his PDX experience a great one. So thank you, Kane, for going the extra mile. We know that having the concourse connector closed during construction for the next couple of years is really an inconvenience for folks. Some people are, surprised by that and can't, run across to a different concourse for their favorite meal. So thank you, Kane, for making that happen. And next up in our ground transportation and parking category, Dave. Okay, Deachin. Not how it looks. Come on up. Okay, this is one I can totally relate to. Jennifer D. Wrote in. She says, "Oh my goodness, Mac is my hero. I went to the airport to pick up my son and my battery died while I was waiting at the curb. It's a hybrid SUV, so the whole process is a lot more complicated with a dead battery. The battery isn't where you'd expect it. Nothing opens the regular way because it all uses battery power. And like I said, the battery was dead. But Mac was willing to stick with me and figure everything out. He had such a lovely attitude about it all. He didn't make me feel stupid for not knowing anything about my own car. And he was really kind in a situation that I found very stressful. It's wonderful to have people like Mac to help when things aren't going well. I appreciate his gift for compassion and exemplary service." So I spoke with Mac a little earlier and I said, I don't know anything about my car and I'm embarrassed by that. And Max, that was, oh, right. See, what's second nature to you as a mechanic isn't to us. So thank you. Right. Of course. Well, we appreciate your compassion. We appreciate your professionalism. It obviously made a huge difference to this person. They found the nomination link on our website and took the time to really reach out and say how much she appreciated that. So thank you. All right, next up in our port services category, Mimi Priest with the Port of Portland Badging Office. She's not able to join us today. She says, Mindy Coolidge, who is our volunteer coordinator, sent this in. She said, recently the Volunteer Information Program relaunched the information booths, and PDX volunteers are now back on site. Their badges were reactivated, but after 14 months of being away, some of the volunteers are experiencing hiccups getting through security and bypass doors. Understandable. This morning, one of our volunteers couldn't get her badge to work correctly. She went to the badging office where she was helped by Mimi. Mimi checked the system to be sure that the volunteer's badge was activated and then personally walked down to the emplaning level to show her how to use the badge. Volunteers are donating their time to the port and to PDX travelers, helping us provide travelers with an exceptional experience. And Mimi went above and beyond to support one of our VIPs as she navigated the airport for the first time in over a year. Thank you, Mimi, for being such a bright spot on the badging team. And let's give her a hand. And next up in the support services category, we have Jimmie Hudson. I just had the pleasure of meeting Jimmie. We've chatted on the phone a little bit. And I think what strikes me, I think the first thing you said to me was how proud you are of your daughter, that the most important work you do here is as a father. So I always know that when somebody says that, their heart is in the right place. And I think you'll see from this note that was sent in that that's most definitely the case. This note came in from Nikki and Justin of Camas, Washington. They say, I wanted to write my appreciation to a gentleman who I saw on multiple occasions doing a great job making elderly, injured, and other folks needing assistance feel comfortable at PDX and to get to their destinations. We were not the beneficiaries of his service. We simply observed it. But both my wife and I, separately and in different parts of the terminal, noticed how compassionate and professional this gentleman was with everyone. We saw him at the Delta ticket counter getting folks wheelchairs, and in the D concourse helping a woman that needed directions. My wife saw his name tag, and we think his name is Jimmie. It is. They did good. We both felt compelled to write a note to say that it was just really nice to see someone do such a thorough and thoughtful job with passengers he's never met before. So thank you, Jimmie. That's what it's all about, right? Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. That's right. That's what they say. Yeah. All right. And finally, to conclude in the team category, Carrie Countryman from the Port of Portland, come on up, along with Rob Selby with Horizon Air. There's always one nomination that's a tearjerker, and this is it for me. So I'm going to do my best to keep it together. So Carrie, who's the lost and found manager here at PDX, learned that a passenger, Jennifer, had been separated from her mother's ashes at the checkpoint and left them behind. Yep. Carrie reached out to Jennifer, but she was already in Seattle and on her way to Ketchikan, Alaska, where the ashes were to be spread at the memorial. Carrie was able to pick up the ashes from the checkpoint and take them to Lost and Found. After doing some research to see what options might be available to get the ashes to Jennifer, Carrie called Alaska Airlines and discovered that there was a cargo flight that would arrive in Ketchikan at 9:30 a.m. If somebody could bring the ashes to the Alaska Air Cargo office, it might be possible to ship the ashes as cargo. They weren't allowed on a passenger flight, just the restrictions with them being ashes. Carrie rushed over to Alaska Air Cargo with the ashes, a box and bubble wrap in tow. Rob Selby of Horizon was helping and told Carrie that the only way to get the ashes shipped on the Ketchikan flight was through a preferred shipper. Another Alaska employee who is not here and is not based in Portland piped up. She was just finishing her own shipping business, and she said, well, I have a preferred shipper account. Can we use my preferred shipper account? Rob said, yep, we sure can. It was possible, and Rob made it happen. Carrie called Jennifer to give her the good news. The ashes were bubble wrapped and boxed, and Rob took it out to load up for the trip to Ketchikan. The ashes landed at 9:30 a.m., just in time for Jennifer to pick them up, take the ferry ride to the island with her mom's to attend her mom's memorial with the ashes. So if that doesn't make your heart just glow with warmth and good feelings, I don't know what will. What you did, Carrie and Rob, for a person that was obviously in mourning, and I think we've seen this before, with the woman that left her glasses in the car. When people are distraught, emotionally, just in a difficult place, they forget things that they otherwise wouldn't forget. And so doing what you did to make the ashes get to the memorial was just extraordinary, truly extraordinary. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. So that concludes our awards portion of the recognition. I'm going to turn it back over to Walt, and he'll have some concluding remarks. We have some lunch that's been ordered. We've invited everybody that's here today to join us for lunch out on the patio, or if you're more comfortable or need to get back to work, which is more likely, to grab a box lunch and take it with you. All right. Well.
All right. Thank you, Shannon. And thank you to everybody who could join us today. It's really an honor to celebrate everyone in this room. You truly are what makes PDX such a special airport and such a special place to work. So for those of you who couldn't join us today, hopefully you still felt some love from home. I'd like to thank Christian, our social media manager, and Steve with Really Big Video for helping us put on this sort of first of its kind event. And I really wanted to say thank you to Shannon as well for all of her energy and effort that she put forth to make this event a reality. So thank you all for joining us. And for those of you who are staying, hopefully you can join us for lunch. And thanks again. And we hope you have a great quarter ahead. Thanks again. Bye.